somebody start by telling me what was your expectation of today, and what did you want to learn today? Anybody?
I'll say.
Okay.
I'm concerned about if the macronutrients need to be shifted to get my goals done. Like,
Okay.
cut down on the carbs, increase the protein, or what that needs to look like.
Mhm.
I'm down to like, I want to lose 10 more, maybe. I try not to focus on the scale.
Yeah.
I think I want to lose 10
That
more
evil
pounds,
scale.
but I'm struggling with those last little bits, even though my calorie intake is, I think, on target.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes sense. Someone came to me not all long ago, someone I was looking for advice from, and she said, you know, what are you doing about your carbs? I'm like, I stopped counting that stuff. It's just too much work. And I started, I'm not saying I shouldn't, but I did start just out of curiosity, paying attention in my Fitness Pal. And
Right.
she said, let's carb cycle and all this other stuff that felt like it was just too much work.
Mm-hmm.
But I use it as a baseline, at least so I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And I guess I can answer to a certain degree, and you can give your perspective. When I shifted to this as the foundation of my nutrition, I had done the whole, you know, no fat, low fat, no carb, Atkins, like you name it, right? All of those things that are a fad of the day. And I was really worried about the wrong foods, and I started to pay attention to the carbohydrates that were empty, the things that we love that we go to on those stress days, whether it was, for me, bread and cheese. And there's literally nothing good in that other than satisfying that immediate craving. And I shifted from empty carbohydrates to things that gave me some nutrition and fueled my body and made me feel better, and things like, you know, quinoa and sweet potatoes. And they started to fill that void of when it might have been rice and, you know, I don't know, French fries, right? Or baked potatoes versus sweet potatoes. Something, yeah. And so I had to just shift my mindset a bit. And I hit 50 a year and a half ago, and so I had to be really cognizant to hormonal changes and some things that you guys don't have to worry about yet. Some of us are still working on those, yes.
So my background is I have always been an athlete. I've always been to personal trainer and nutrition consulting for years and years, and I did fitness competitions forever, and we did macros, and I did
Walk these around.
okay, yeah, perfect. We did, I mean, it was like so rigid, and you can get results from that. It's just that it's really hard to sustain. If how you get your results isn't how you can keep going, then you cannot expect to keep your results. You can't keep building on like your 10-pound weight loss, you know. And then also, what was lost? Was it muscle, or was it fat? Was it the kind of weight loss that you want? There's, you know, we get really attached to this scale, and the scale isn't a good indicator of what's going on. So I love that Orangetheory is giving us all the in-body scan. That's huge. It's going to tell you much more what's going on in your body. And over I think it's 8 weeks. The challenge is 8 weeks. Okay. Over 8 weeks, you can really see like if what you're doing is working. And then, you know, the goal is to lose fat, not muscle. The goal is to lose body fat, and especially like visceral fat is the fat that squishes your organs, and that's the bad kind. So you really want, when you're looking at your results, that's going to be like awesome for you to have a benchmark and then something to shoot for. And then you want to probably gain some lean muscle. That's going to help you boost your metabolism, all of that. So when you think of like cleaning up your diet, what do you do? Like, do you think of like restricting, kind of like taking back your calories a little bit? Is that a normal thing for people? Like you think, okay, right? So what happens is we already are nutrient deficient, and then we're getting lower calories. So now we're not only nutrient deficient, we're more nutrient deficient. So you're not getting what your body needs. So then cravings start to happen, moodiness starts to happen, and nobody wants to live like that. It's like that's the worst, the yo-yo. So it's really important to not feel like, okay, I have to, in order to lose weight, I need to restrict my calories. It's because calories are not all created equal. Not all carbs, not all proteins, not all fat do the same thing in your body. So we're just going to talk about some of that today. I appreciate you sharing the macros, and like if you want more like one-on-one, we can definitely do that. What other health and fitness goals do you guys have in here for that challenge?
I want to do weight loss.
Okay, awesome. And why is that? Is it just gonna important to you?
It's important for my health, yeah.
Okay, awesome. What else?
I think you said already, losing the body fat while maintaining the muscle mass that I currently have, especially being over 30, having to really be more cognizant of what I'm doing and how it's affecting me, because I feel it every day now.
Right. It's not 20 anymore.
Has anybody like had a goal, whether it was weight loss or the pant size or whatever it is, for say a wedding or something, right? High school reunion, whatever it is, and hit that and then like fall off the wagon and lose yourself and then have to restart all over again? Am I the only one that's done that? Okay. Does that stress you out?
Yeah,
I mean,
because you never get to where you think you
right.
want to be.
And
It's not really the goal. I mean, it shouldn't be the goal.
and then not know what to do. Like you hit that goal and you're kind of like, now what do I do? Okay, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. Because, you know, Justina was talking about the yo-yo thing, and I think that puts a lot of burden on us emotionally as well. And so when we're striving towards a goal, I think it's great because we have this focus, right? We're super focused, we're laser focused. Somebody could put a pizza or whatever that thing is in front of you, and you're like, no, I can't because I've got this, my pants don't fit yet, whatever it is, right? And then, right, and then, but then what we're doing, to Justina's point, is we're not allowing certain things in our lives. And so depending on your personality type, I am an all or nothing type A, like crazy person. And for those of you that aren't, congrats to you. But for me, that meant absolutely like cut everything out, and I can't do this and I can't do that. And then I have one of those emotional days, you know, I fight with my daughter or whatever it is. And I go to whatever it is that satisfies me emotionally, and then that voice in my head is beating myself up, and I'm like, I might as well just go eat a cheeseburger, right? I've already. So, is everybody else struggling with that? And so somebody taught me a long time ago, long before this life change happened for me, and they were like, you've got to cut yourself a little bit of slack, figure out what those things are, and try to learn how to recognize them. And that's easier said than done. But I think if we learn to, at least for me, I learned that there were other things that could maybe satisfy that craving, and that the voice in my head then wouldn't beat me up, and I wouldn't snowball and then have to start all over, because it's exhausting, right? You lose it all and then you start all over again, however many times a year or over a period of time. And then we come and we work out and we're running off a pizza. And it's hard, and we have so much pressure on us in society to be some certain size, and where some of us are raising daughters, and that's a huge responsibility. At least I took it as a huge responsibility. Dusty and I both have grown daughters, but we're still raising them. Dina. We still are raising them. So like what are the things that, if you guys feel like you're on track, what's something that throws you off track?
Stress.
Like family, work, all the
Stress.
work stress? What do you normally do about that?
You don't want to know what I do.
We probably all do it.
Like
wine. Yeah.
Have you guys found having Orangetheory helps you manage your stress?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Can't move after.
Well, there's that.
And your brain is tired because you're not getting enough calories, so your brain can't
Yeah.
function.
So you come work out. What do you guys do after that? What are you all eating like after you work out? How are you feeling your bodies? Do you know, or is it like haphazard? Like I'm gonna eat egg yolks and celery or something, right?
No, just haphazard, whatever's in the house.
Okay. Okay. So one of the things that I found, and then Justina can talk too, is being able to consistently have something that makes me feel good and my muscles are recovering. So if it's the right kind of protein, whether it's eating a healthy protein, drinking a healthy protein, your muscles need that protein to repair. And you guys are in here working hard. I know how hard we work in here. And so knowing the right kind of proteins, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, or not, there are so many choices out there, and our body needs that good protein in order, to be absorbed so that our muscles can recover. We want to go work out again the next day because we're not too sore to be able to move, right? There's that balance. And how do you fill the gaps and make sure you're getting all the vitamins and minerals at the same time? And so I have found that leveraging a combination of the enriched protein shakes with, as much as I love to cook, I cook all the time, I love to cook, and how do I make sure I balance that out? And so that when I'm cooking, I'm still getting the enriched foods, and when I'm not, what is my foundation? And knowing and having a foundation. We've talked about, one of the things that I found that was really interesting is I was looking at healthy proteins, carbs, healthy fats, vegetables, and other things. And I'm happy to pass this around the room, because I think at the end of the day, I feel like we know what the right foods are, but maybe we don't know how much of those foods we should be eating, right? I love to cook, and if I cook something I really like, I'm probably going to eat more of it, and then what, right? So I like the idea of knowing what the right portion size is. These in-body scans that we're going to be doing for this next challenge, I think is really going to be helpful. Last time I did something like that, I asked, and it wasn't here, it was in Vancouver, I said, how many calories and how much protein should I be eating based on my goals and my age and my body and all that? And you guys might be surprised. He said, I need to consume 100 to 120 grams of protein a day. I was like, oh my God, that's like half a cow. How am I going to do that? Right? Do you guys have any idea how much protein you're supposed to have?
No, that's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just curious
Yeah.
because I didn't either. And so I started adding that up, and I literally Googled how much protein is in 4 ounces of chicken. Right? Okay, 30 grams. Okay, that's great. I'm not going to eat that for breakfast. So I started, right? Okay, well, there's 36 grams of protein in the shake I drink after workouts. Okay, I can do that math, right? And I started to add it up using things like MyFitnessPal. I'll pass this around. Using things like MyFitnessPal to keep me on track my sugar intake, my carb intake, all of that stuff. And it's, again, not letting the learning experience become a new stress, but accepting the learning experience and then building on top of that.
Protein is the foundation. If you think about it in your body, it's like the beams in the rafter that you're building your body on. It literally repairs and builds new tissue or new cells. There's like 100 trillion cells in your body every day that are generated by protein. Your hormones are coming from protein. Your bones, your muscle. It affects your metabolism, how much muscle you have and how much protein you're taking in. And so we can't compromise on good quality protein. I mean, I don't know if you guys have all seen like the documentaries, but like grass-fed beef is great. I'm just gonna say what's good because it matters. Like it matters what you eat today is what your body will be 6 months from now. It truly does. So if you're taking in a poor quality protein, or you're not taking in enough, or some days you get like lots and it's not even, your body's gonna show it later. So like good quality proteins are like grass-fed beef, organic chicken, organic eggs, quinoa, black beans, the whey protein, grass-fed whey protein, like hemp and pea protein if you're plant-based. Those are all really good staples, and we can, I'm gonna pass this around and you guys can put your information and we can send out I didn't have printouts for everything, but like a printout of like what a good quality protein is so that you will know. Having them on hand like is so important. So like Lori is saying she needs 120 grams a day of protein according to her body scan, and that's a lot. If you're like gonna eat 3 to 5 times a day, that's a lot. That's a job to take in that much protein. So you're gonna probably have to supplement, and you definitely have to be prepared. But like as a minimum, you should be taking in half your body weight in protein a day. So If you're 160 pounds, that would be 80 grams of protein a day per person. That's at the bare minimum. That's about 23 grams or 26 grams of protein per like 3 meals a day. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you're wanting to like lose weight, you're gonna bump that up to 0.75, so about 120 grams of protein, which is 40 grams per meal. And if you're wanting to like actually build muscle, put on muscle, it's gonna be 1 gram per body weight. Yeah.
So one thing that's interesting, like you said, you've hit that plateau. Like when I hit that plateau, the first thing someone said to me was, you need to increase your protein. Well, that was counterintuitive to what we'd always heard. I was like, no, shouldn't I be eating less, right? So I increased my protein and magic, right? I broke through the plateau. And to Justina's point, not all protein is created equal, but I don't know if you guys have ever heard of protein pacing. So I'm sort of nerded out sometimes on science studies, and I heard someone talk and read about protein pacing, and my friends that do CrossFit, they talk about how they eat most of their protein in the beginning part of the day. So by 5 o'clock, they're done eating like mass amounts of protein. I don't eat solid protein like meats in the evening because my body has a hard time digesting them. So I eat the bulk of my protein before 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But if you think about a curve like this, then most of my protein is going to happen in the morning and it's going to taper off by the end of the day. I might drink a little bit of extra protein powder at bedtime because it's also been proven to help get rid of some of this extra belly fat that I'm working so hard to get rid of. But otherwise, the bulk of our protein, and I'd never heard of protein pacing. Like, we're not all scientists. My friends that are nutritionists say, oh yeah, of course, here's some of the other things that you can do. And it's like they say, for years, dinner's normally the biggest meal of the day. We grew up that way as parents, as kids. Finish what's on your plate, and dinner's always the biggest meal of the day. And then we learned, well, that's always not necessarily the healthiest for us either, because then we go to sleep a couple hours later, and we have this gut full of food. And so my biggest meal of the day is in the middle of the day. And I found I sleep better at night because I'm not digesting mass amounts of food I had to chew. So I don't know if anybody else deals with that or if you've known about that, but protein pacing, you could Google it, and it'll actually give you information on the right way to sort of split your protein out. If you need to have, like we've talked about, 100 grams of protein, how do you split that out?
I have a question related to that.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I love that for me personally. What about when you have a family, especially teenage boys, right?
Yeah, they eat a lot.
Where they eat a lot, and dinner is kind of our time to get together and have a good meal together. So that tends to be our big meal, mainly because that's family time and it's the boys and all of that.
Yeah.
How do you kind of adjust?
So my daughter's in college, so I hear you. That's not an everyday thing, but when she's home, absolutely, I'm cooking dinner. I'm cognizant as to how much of the protein I'm eating that I've made that evening versus the healthy carbohydrates and the vegetables. If I'm going to be doing dinner in the evening, 2/3 of my plate is vegetables. Not because I'm a vegetarian, but because I know that if I don't, I'm going to feel horrible in the morning. Yeah. But I want to have family time. I want to eat with my family. And I worked really hard to make sure my daughter didn't always think I was always on a diet. My mom was always on a diet, right? So I grew up thinking that I was always on a diet. So when you're cooking with your family, just be cognizant not only to how you're feeding them. Obviously, your boys are probably eating like 12 ounces of meat, especially if they're playing different sports. And if they're, 15, 16, 17 years old, whatever. But you can still eat with your family. Just it's remembering that we don't need to eat as much as they do. And I don't know for everyone else. Again, I feel like I've been the spectrum of life. My boyfriend is 6'7". I'm like, oh, he's having ice cream and cookies at 9 o'clock at night. I can have that too. No, actually, maybe once in a while, but definitely not as much as he's eating. So I think I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I feel like we eat what everybody else is eating.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll eat what we're eating, just in different portion sizes. Does that help? Does that make sense?
It does.
And I think if you can take more of your nutrition, your daily nutrition in the first part of the day, you're actually gonna have more willpower. It's not even willpower. Your body's just not gonna be like trying to make up for what you didn't feed it. How many people race out the door without eating breakfast? Just raise your hand. Yeah, it's common. And then how many people are like, well, I'll get breakfast at the drive-thru at Starbucks with a coffee, you know, and we live in a fast-paced world, so it's like you have to get in the habit of fueling your body in the morning and then not waiting so long. You're busy at work or running around your day and you don't eat for 6 hours, and then you eat and then you can't catch up, right? So then when you do have dinner with your family, you are piling more, but it's not because you're like pigging out. It's literally because your body's like, we have been starved all day. You haven't fed us. And the protein pacing is pretty much exactly like whatever you decided. And like if you want to do weight loss, it would be the 0.75 approximately. 40 grams of protein for breakfast, 40 grams of protein for lunch and dinner. But then we're going to have some snacks in there too, so you can break it up. But if you're looking at your breakfast and you're like, oh my gosh, I had oatmeal and some berries, and there's like 5 grams of protein on that, you're already starting out in the negative. A couple things that is really important to remember what that protein does is it stabilizes your blood sugar. So you're not having these highs and lows. You don't get hangry. If you're starting to feel shaky and hangry, you're probably experiencing low blood sugar. Protein is going to boost your metabolism naturally. It also fills you up, so you feel more satisfied. And as just a general, it promotes longevity and slows the aging process. And I just had my birthday was Thursday, and I turned 47, and I'm like, slow the aging process. Everything I can do to slow the aging process, I'm all about it. So I'm going to ask you guys to maybe just take this week and be aware, like start to think about how much protein you're getting in and when. Just be more cognizant of it. And then is that in matching your goals? Like if, just basic wellness, you're going to need half your body weight. Losing weight, bump it up. Building muscle, bump it up to at least 1 gram per body weight. And you guys will be surprised, it will stoke your metabolism. When you're working out, you guys, we work out hard here. Those like, your muscles are just wanting all the things, but the protein needs to be there so it can build. But we're gonna talk about fat and carbs too, because carbs get such a bad rap. Sugar is not your enemy. Processed sugar is, not natural sugars. Your brain functions on carbs. It can't feel good if it doesn't get the carbs. And I'm not a fad diet person. I don't do trends because I want to be able to have a really long life that's sustainable and do something that works all the time, rather than when I can control the whole environment and nothing goes wrong, then I had a perfect day. That's not life. So I totally believe that our bodies are awesome machines, and we need all the things. We need good fats, that they cushion our joints. They make our hair and skin and nails grow. And good fats are like coconut oil and olive oil and avocados. And who's a good fat person, like in here, who's a good fat person? like who loves incorporates good fats in their day every day? Yeah. So you guys probably feel more full, more satiated, and your hair and your nails and your skin, your joints after working out, you're gonna need to totally take care of your body. So, and then Lori's gonna talk about carbs and how there's this huge difference between people look at a label and they freak out if it has sugar. Oh, because you can't have sugar anymore. It's not the problem. It's what kind of sugar, what is it doing, how much is it? Mm-hmm. So,
and what's interesting, so we were in Phoenix a little bit ago, and the woman I was at a spa, and the woman that was doing my massage had been like this bodybuilder. I mean, she was like this tall and this big and just like super strong. And so I was asking her, like, what do you do? She was older than me, and she started talking about sugar, and it was stuff I had not heard in this context before. And she said, have you noticed that when you consume too much sugar, like you can see it in your face? And no one ever talked to me about that before. And she said, because sugar can cause you to swell a little bit because it's just too much. Now, I thought that was interesting, and I started thinking about it, and I did a little bit of research, and whether it's sugar versus carbohydrates, and we all know, or hopefully we all know, that things like high fructose corn syrup is definitely not the sugar we want in our bodies. It's related to so many bad things. But there are healthy sugars. You know, I like to put honey in my coffee in the morning. I'm okay with that. And am I very aware of whether something's organic versus not? Yes. Once upon a time, no, because I'm super frugal, and I said I'm not spending that kind of money. But I know that we need those things. There's too many pesticides and metals and things that are in our diets. We breathe it in the air, we get it in our water, etc. So when I'm looking at the sugars that I'm going to consume, I want to make sure that it's, there is a healthy fructose. And I did some research because I was curious, especially with today. And again, printouts, because I'm that kind of person. So it talks about getting the right kind of sugars. And there's glucose, and there's fructose, and there's high fructose corn syrup. And there's sugar that is found naturally in the earth, in trees, in plants, in fruits, etc. And it's the amount of sugar. So I Googled again this morning, how much sugar should an average woman versus an average man get? And it said 25 grams for women, 30 grams for men. So I immediately went to my FitnessPal and I started looking at stuff, and I thought, I'm about 30. I'm thinking that's okay, because I know that the majority of the sugar I am getting comes naturally from beets and comes naturally from certain fruits that I'm eating. I also decided to stop eating fruit after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know why. I just figured I don't need any more sugar in the afternoon in my body. But I want it to be naturally sourced. And so, we see, especially when we're feeding our kids, we'll go buy either organic, it'll say gluten-free, non-fat sugar snacks, fruit snacks, right? Thinking that it's fat-free, right? It's all that bad sugar, right? It's literally just sugar. And so what are the healthy sugars? To the point of our brain needs sugar to function. So the sugar in some ways can act as a conduit to feed our body. It allows our brain to function at its optimal level, but it's the healthy sugars from beets, sugars that are healthy fructose. We hear about stevia all the time, right? There's all these different types of stevia. Is it the stevia plant, or is it processed stevia? And that can make our head spin. It can be super confusing. The labels are kind of overwhelming. I Googled bananas, because we hear that bananas have high sugar, and depending on your situation, if you look at the chemical compound of bananas, you'd think by reading it was something horrific, something really bad, something that comes out of a box, or something that is all candy, because of all the chemical compounds that make up the natural stuff that comes in a banana. So the idea of what are the sugars to avoid, I won't ever buy anything with high fructose corn syrup anymore. I was cleaning out my fridge a couple of months ago, and I had the giant jug of the Hershey's chocolate syrup. The first ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. I threw it away because I thought, I can't have that in my body anymore. There were days once upon a time that I'd be stressed. I'm like, right? So if I want those things in my house and I still want to have the things that I love, there are certain things that I just, no compromise. I will not put them in my body anymore. It is a non-negotiable completely. So look for the healthy sugars and realize that, to the point, the sugar's not necessarily a bad thing. There's 11 grams in each shake that I drink. It's sourced from beets. It's non-GMO. I'm okay with that. But I'm still looking to make sure I don't consume more than 30 grams in a day. So what are the other things that I'm eating during the day?
And you also think, are you working out? So that you're taking in 30 grams, but everything builds upon your base, right? So if you're getting a workout, and I don't know what the average is, but maybe 300 to 500 calories you're burning in an OTF workout. So your body needs that for instant fuel. It needs it, but it also needs to be refueled so that you go and you can function, your brain can function throughout your day. Brain fog is a real thing, and it's usually lack of nutrients. It's usually a lack of the right carbs. If you're taking in the wrong kind of sweets, then those like a chocolate bar. These are really good. They're natural, but let's say you went through Starbucks and you got a pastry. that's gonna give you a high for a minute, but then you're gonna have brain fog, and later in the day you're gonna have a lull, you're gonna have more cravings because your body's like, oh, now we're back down, we need more energy. So it's a roller coaster of your blood sugar. One great way to be is just to be prepared, but to like make fun little snacks ahead for the week that have a little bit of everything, some fruit, some veggies, an eggs, there's some string cheese in there, or some nuts, some hummus. Costco has these little hummus things. All of those are really good, and when you pair your protein with your carbohydrate, it keeps your blood sugar stable. So I don't restrict anything. I don't have rules anymore about what I eat, what time I eat it. I always have a shake for breakfast, and I fuel myself with a shake post-workout because it's quick and easy. There's a stat that says if you really want to recover your muscles, you need to eat within 20 minutes of your workout. That is so that everything that you did at the gym, you're going to get the most bang for your buck. But other than that, like, I think you start to learn your body, you listen to it. But fruit is not bad for you. And there's so many diets out right now, and it's always going to be dieting is always going to be a thing. There's always going to be the latest and the greatest. I think if you find something that works for you and you feel good and you can do it when you're on vacation, that's something that lasts. It's always like, yes, you can follow your little, perfect plan when you control everything, but then the holidays come and all hell breaks loose and you're like, oh my God, come January.
So much stuffing and gravy.
Yeah, and so, we want to really help you guys get awesome results in the next 8 weeks. It's going to be super fun. We love isogenics because it's a system. It fuels our body. It's plug and play. It's easy. That's what we choose. But whatever you guys choose, you just have to start to be like, okay, I'm worth it. Like, I'm worth taking time, taking a few minutes to prep ahead, to figure out, don't put rules around yourself, because who wants to break a rule? Like, the minute I put a rule around something, I'm like, I'm gonna break it.
So true,
right?
I'm
gonna have 2 glasses of wine
children.
instead of the one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I'm curious, has anybody ever fasted?
Like intermittent fasting, you heard of it?
I tried that.
Yeah. How many days did you do? Or hours?
Like 2 or 3.
Yeah. What did you feel?
Starving.
Right?
Yeah.
So I grew up, my mom's family's Jewish, so I grew up once a year on the holiday having to fast for 24 hours, Day of Atonement, right? By 4 o'clock I was trying to do this as a teenager, which was a joke. But even still to this day, that one day a year, I remember thinking, oh, this is gonna be easy, because part of my routine now involves intermittent fasting. And again, you could Google the benefits of intermittent fasting. It's insane. It's a thing now. And we've been doing it with isogenics. Well, for me, 2 years, but isogenics for 15 years. But I remember even to this day thinking, oh, it's gonna be so much easier now because it's part of my routine. I fast every Sunday, easy. Yom Kippur comes up, I still cannot get through that day, because you know why? It's just water. My body and my mind are talk about brain fog. So that's why I was curious if anybody's ever fasted, because there's so many different ways to fast. I have friends at work that are doing and I've never done it, so I don't have a personal opinion, but you could quote, it's like cayenne and honey and lemon, and I don't know. It sounds horrible. I've not ever done it. I don't think I want to do it. But I'd be curious if anybody's ever done that, what kind of results you've had, if you've heard about it and thought that sounds terrible. Like there's the cabbage soup, that was a big thing 10 years ago, right? And it smells up the whole house. I tried that and I was in the bathroom for 2 days. So I'm just saying there's so many things out there that we're all grasping, right? What's the thing that I can do that gets me through the hump and I don't have to try something new again? Because I don't reach my goal and fall and have to start over, and what do I do again? I never thought fasting would be a thing I would do. Go ahead.
So do you consider fasting just no solid food?
So isogenics has a very specific fasting. So I follow I'm that personality. It says do this, I do this. So it's a series of mineral enriched drink that I drink 4 times a day. And then there are some supplements, so it's a supported fast.
You get chocolate.
So there, yeah, I can have up to those. Well, I have about 2 a day. You can have up to 4. And then there's these other little wafers, and so it keeps our metabolism going, right? My digestion's taking a break, but because I'm consuming very specific things that work scientifically, my blood sugar never crashes. So my family members who have diabetes, they obviously are not, especially type 2. They cannot fast because they're insulin dependent. But I don't have that. So I will fast for 24 to 48 hours. And I don't know, I sleep better. One thing that we've learned too is that 70% of our energy goes to digestion. Think about how tired we are when we eat a huge meal. We're like, right? We blame it on the turkey, right? But I just read a study that said 70% of our energy goes to digestion. So when we eat those big meals, no wonder we're so tired. So now, and it makes sense, on those days that I fast, I have so much energy. You'll see me in here working out on days that I'm fasting. I still work out on those days. At the end, I know it sounds nuts. I didn't do that in the beginning. In the beginning, I felt like I was wrapped in bubble wrap. But after a year of having this be my protocol in my everyday life so that I didn't yo-yo ever again, I learned that I could work out. So I started with simple stuff like, push-ups and sit-ups and planks and things that made me feel strong and lean. Because I'm telling you, there's nothing that makes you feel better than you get up the next morning after you fasted for 24 to 48 hours and you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, my stomach shrunk, I feel great, right? And so you feel stronger. So I've learned that I can work out on cleanse days, and I still make sure that I drink my post stuff, which gives me the BCAA, so my muscles recover like they're supposed to. But I sleep better. I have more energy because I'm not digesting. So you can always Google intermittent fasting. I love the idea that I'm not making a concoction and that I already have something that's been put together and scientifically proven and it tastes good versus something that doesn't. So I'd be, interested to see what you all think about that too. It sounds intimidating, but we're living proof that we haven't died.
Yeah. One crazy, awesome statistic about intermittent fasting is it boosts your human growth hormone, which is your youth hormone and your muscle building hormone, 2,300% in men and 1,800% in women. That's significant. That's, you never want to go more than 48 hours without eating because your body will start to get its protein and its source from your own body, and you don't want that to happen. You don't want to burn up your own muscle. But 24 to 48 hours, you can that's intermittent fasting. And then after that, the next 3 days, your human growth hormone is boosted that much. So that's pretty exciting if you're curious, Googling the intermittent fasting, there's lots of ways to do it. Like Lori's saying, I like isogenic simply because it's supported and I don't feel like I'm not eating anything. But it just goes with a well-balanced life, well-balanced nutrition. So do you guys have questions?
How often is the recommendation for that? Once a month, once every 2 weeks?
I don't know in a general what intermittent, maybe weekly, but I know isogenics you can cleanse once a week. Yeah, but I think you don't want to do it a intermittent fast and then have a couple days and then keep fasting. That will throw your body out of whack. Your body will go into starvation mode and then just hoard everything. And that's another thing, you guys. If you aren't taking in enough calories, let's say you're like, I am doing everything right, and somebody told you need to be at 1,300 calories or 1,400 calories, and nothing's happening, you're not getting results, you're probably not taking in enough nutrition. Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't done the scan yet, but I'm assuming when you do the scan based on your goals, they say, okay, this should be your calorie intake.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about calorie intake, is that net before or after workout calories?
It will be your base before. For me, to lay, and this is crazy, but to lay on the couch just to be alive, 1,800 calories a day. And somebody wants me to tell me to lose weight, puts me on a 1,200, 1,500 calorie diet, and I wonder why I'm just cranky, right? So, and that's me not working out. So you know,
Mhm.
1,800 calories is my base, and each person is going to be different, but how it should work is as you are losing fat, gaining muscle, you should have a higher metabolism, so you should be getting more, be able to eat more calories, where I'm going to throw Weight Watchers under the bus for 2 seconds, but Weight Watchers, I've seen writing on their website, oh, as you lose weight, you're going to need to reduce your calories more. No, that's backwards. If you're doing it the right way and you're actually building and boosting your metabolism, you will fire up your metabolism, you will be able to eat more, and that's like, who doesn't want to, like, at the end of the day, who doesn't want to eat more? Like, I like to eat.
Who wants to feel hungry?
I love to eat, I love to enjoy food, I love to enjoy life, but I don't want to, like, stress about it, so.
You know what's interesting is, whether it's Weight Watchers or anything else, because I've tried so many things, my skin tone, like, I look back at pictures of myself with my daughter however many years ago when I thought I was at my optimal weight. I was like, and I look back at pictures, I'm like, my skin was gray. I looked old and tired. Well, yuck, right? So it is interesting when you find that thing that's feeding your body right, listen to your body.
Mm-hmm.
I had a really funny conversation with my father, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and I said, yeah, I just don't eat those things anymore because it's not that I'm allergic to dairy or what, but I would eat cheese all the time, and then I wondered why I was always congested and had stomach aches. And so my cravings have changed a lot because my body seems to need less of that stuff. And so I was talking to him about that one day, and I said, yeah, when I eat that kind of stuff now, I just don't feel right. Like my body is almost objecting. Here's the 70-year-old man's response. Well, if you did that more often, then your body wouldn't object anymore. And I said, yeah, but I weighed 30 pounds more when I lived that way. So, you know, I just always tell people, like, we have to listen to our bodies. I love cheese, oh my gosh. But when I wake up in the morning congested and I start to think, I'm like, oh, that's right. That's what I ate yesterday. I don't want to feel that way. I want to have energy in here. I don't want to feel like I have weights on my ankles. And I think we're so used to eating because of our habits, right? This is what I do. And this is the way I was raised, and everything's fine, right? Well, as we get older, we're realizing it's not, and it's made a difference. It's made me respect myself more. It's made me pay attention to how I feel when I do certain things, whether it's working out or just being. And so those are, they're valid questions. They're things that are like, based on how we were raised, what our culture is, what our family's like, how our kids eat. Those are all things that we want to be respectful of, each one of you, as you're thinking about what's right for yourself. And I'm grateful for this place because it's given this community here is amazing, right? I think we love the staff. And they're so supportive, and we hear you're worth it, you're worth it, you're worth it. You're so worth it. And then realizing that it's okay to do something that makes me feel worth it when just not this hour. And I don't know, I don't mean to preach, but that's just how it changed my life.
Can you tell us what a typical day of what you guys eat from morning until bed? And drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I got distracted. I want to touch on how often I fast as well. So I became a firm believer in this. I'll tell you, when I started this, I just thought it was another diet. I'd done every shake under the sun. I'd shopped at Costco and Trader Joe's, and you name it, right? So I was like, I'm starting another diet. So I am very grateful of the system that I have before me. So my day always starts with some of the products that Isagenix has provided me. So one is a tea that's filled with adaptogens, which helps our body adapt to stress. It's a real herb. Again, I Googled it because I thought it was a made-up word. It's a real word. It helps our body adapt to what it needs at the time, and it's filled with vitamin B. So I drink that every morning. It's what I drink like a tea while I'm getting ready for work. I blend a shake with ice and water every morning unless I'm here first, and then you'll see me in the lobby making my shake as I walk out the door. And it's one of these. We brought just samples so you guys can see. I drink the higher protein shakes. There's a dairy-free and a whey version. So it's great for everyone. I eat a snack mid-morning, and it's always something with protein and something else. So like these examples, these are great.
I don't know if you can see. There's like hard-boiled egg,
nuts, and again, portion sizing has always been a struggle for me personally. I don't know about you guys. I've tried the different colored cups. If anybody's ever done that, Yeah. So I've gotten to a point where I know what the right size is, and I just have to be honest with myself. So if I'm doing hummus and vegetables, I love that as a snack. I put it in the little Rubbermaid, I don't know what it is. It's a quarter cup something. But I love that in the morning. But it's always like 10 grams of protein that always has fiber and healthy carbohydrates. Always, every time I eat, it's a combination. Because to Justina's point, those things all work together. And then lunch is, I always eat a fork and knife lunch, so something I've cooked. So this past week, I had done a lot of like lentils, and I made tuna and lots of veggies. And so my plate will normally look like 1/4 of my plate is protein, which is about 4 ounces. And I'm leaning more towards seafood every day because my body does better when I'm not eating meats, right? Yeah. And then quinoa, I love quinoa. I've fallen in love with quinoa. I make quinoa salads with things like avocado and tomato and black beans, and right? It's a great snack, and more of it with a protein is a great lunch. So I don't count calories, but I've learned that 500 to 600 calories fills me up and gives me the right balance of nutrition. I have another snack similar to my hummus snack in the afternoon. Again, I'm a bit of a creature of habit, so I have 4 or 5 things that are my go-to. Greek yogurt's great. I don't do dairy as often, but that's a great snack with some fruit. I love those little baby peppers, whatever it is, an apple and a handful of nuts. And then in the evenings, honestly, I finish every evening with a shake again. Again, that's because of my digestion, and my body feels better if I'm not digesting food at night. Now, that actually was how I started my weight wellness, weight loss journey a little over 2 years ago. And I honestly thought, okay, well, once I lose the weight, what's my plan going to be? And I've learned that those sort of the bookends of my day are always the bookends of my day. Now, if I'm going out for brunch or if I'm out for dinner, I just shift things around. But I still always get those because each one of these shakes also gives me 2 of them gives me a full day's vitamins and minerals, and it's filling those gaps that I wouldn't get otherwise. And then every Sunday and Monday, I fast. So you asked how often. I will either do a 48-hour or a 24-hour. If I'm doing a 24-hour, it's every week, every Sunday I'm cleansing. Sunday, Monday on the 4th or 5th week, give or take. And that's literally, and I love to cook, and I cook those in between meals. It makes life easy and fun.
How much water do you drink?
A ton now. I drink like 100 ounces, 80 to 100 ounces of water a day. I was a terrible water drinker. Like maybe I'd get 30 or 40 in a day, and I was like, well, my coffee had 12. Like I was totally cheating. But I'm a good 80 ounces of water a day, 100 ounces of water on days that I'm fasting. And I'll tell you what's interesting, and Justina talked a bit about her background, and then I'll stop talking. But I've worked in health and wellness technology, like WebMD, health plans, whatever, for years and years and years. And I would sit behind a desk and work on wellness programs for corporations to inspire their employees to do better, right? And so if anyone's ever done biometric screenings, if you've taken a health risk assessment, if you have history, family stuff, whatever, it will give you a score, right? And it says, okay, well, your BMI is good, but because of X, Y, and Z, you might, you have high blood pressure, so you might be getting close to being pre-diabetic. And I used to work with our coaching staff on how to keep the healthy, how to get those that are at risk from having a diagnosed chronic condition, like diabetes type 2, and then those that had a chronic condition, how do we get them so that they don't get worse, right? So they don't end up morbid, morbidly obese, whatever it is. Employees cared about that because they needed their staff to come to work every day. But the human side of me says, there's so much more than whether I have to go to work every day. So as I learned about this and I thought about that background, I'm like, I'm managing any health risks that I have, which to me is cancer in my family. So that's why I wanted to come today, because I just think that we all have so many different, our bodies are complex. But that's what a day in the life looks like for me.
Do you consistently eat the same thing pretty much every day then?
Like
For the
3
most part?
or 4 days.
Okay.
It depends on how much I make, right? So when I make seafood, No, it was only 1 or 2 days because I don't like, nobody likes me heating
Nobody
up
likes
seafood
leftover
and
seafood.
nobody likes me heating up, well, they didn't mind the tuna the other day because it was I ate cold, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's got to be easy stuff. I don't do packaged foods anymore because I don't want the preservatives in my body. So yeah, but I don't have to meal prep 5 meals a day anymore. I used to do that. It was exhausting. And then how many of the vegetables did I buy with a good intent that would then get mushy and I'm throwing them away? So I don't do that anymore. It's too much work.
So when you go work out at OTF, what do you drink a protein for workout and you drink another?
I don't because I'm one of those crazy 5 a.m. people.
Yeah, it kind of depends what time of day.
Because you know how you
Yeah.
always make sure you eat up. So you
Yeah, I do a pre-workout. I have a pre-workout concoction that I drink. Thank you. And then I drink protein right after workouts.
What is a pre-workout?
It's creatine, some natural caffeine, and then while we're working out, I drink something that hydrates my body with electrolytes in it. So I'm an empty stomach workout person, but if I worked out at 8 or 9,
Yeah, no, I
would
eat
have
by
to
then.
eat something.
I'll work out later.
Yeah. So what do you do before workout?
I have my shake, like, if it's an hour, I'll have my shake about an hour before. But if I don't get around to it that early, I'll just grab, like, a handful of nuts or, a piece of toast with some avocado on it. Nothing, like, too big, but something so that I have some fuel. I don't have to get up, like, super early anymore. I did it for years. I opened a gym at 4:30 in the morning, and so I did the working out with no food. That was what
Fasting
I did.
cardio,
Yeah,
right?
just because
Yeah.
it's like you're getting your workout in like right when you get up, and it's like you don't want to have to be digesting and working out. But if you have a workout like that's a couple hours after you get up, you definitely want to put something in your body.
Because you'll feel your stomach growling, right? Your body needs something.
Oatmeal's good.
Like a half a banana and a
eggs,
tablespoon
yeah.
of almond butter is what I used to do too before I started going so early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
So stevia, I see it in so many things. I know there's like stevia extract, stevia leaves. Like, how do you know which is the more processed and which is?
Should say organic stevia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I also have heard that, I don't know if this is like kind of like wide scale type things, but some people have said there's only so much stevia that you should be putting in your body compared to like other sugar. I don't know if that's just people's opinions or.
I mean, I don't know, but there probably is. It's pretty strong. So like if you're using stevia all the time, like then you probably just are used to extra sweet. But like, I mean, do you use it every single day and stuff?
No, it's mainly, I don't actually go out like looking for
Oh,
it,
okay.
but it ends up like in a lot of
The stuff that you
healthier
have.
products that I see.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking in ingredients, it'll be like no sugar added because it's stevia
Yeah.
that's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You do not want to be putting artificial sweeteners in your body. It is poison. It's poison. And soy proteins, they're not healthy. Just Google those two things. Say Google side effects of artificial sweeteners and side effects of soy protein. I would rather you have a regular pop than a diet pop. That's how bad it is for you.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the things, like, when I'm hearing people and they're like, I'm gonna have a sugar-free blah blah blah, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's so bad. But toxins are stored in your fat cells in your middle, so the more toxic you are, the more visceral fat you'll have, the middle fat, and nobody wants that, aesthetically or for health-wise. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
For to get your base calorie thing, I mean, the only thing I really have is just Fitness Pal, so you put in your current weight, what you want to weigh,
Yeah.
and how active you are, and that's it. Is that good enough, or is there a different way to calculate what you're?
Well, the InBody will give you, and it's free.
Well, yeah, I went and did that, but then all I did was turn it in, so I don't even know.
Oh,
Oh
just
shoot. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe we can get
so
a
I'll
copy
get it
of it.
back.
yeah, because it will
Yeah.
tell. Yeah, it will tell you.
Here it So I don't even know what it said.
yeah.
She emailed me mine.
Oh, she
Yeah,
did.
we scanned all
Okay.
of those, so if you guys want them, you
Yeah.
can just ask and we can either email them to you or print them out.
Yeah,
Same
'cause-
thing with all these handouts, actually, there's a list up front, if you didn't get the handouts from this and you want them, just sign up and let you know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that's a better gauge
So
because
that's better than doing like.
Because I don't
Yeah.
think my FitnessPal wasn't right for me either.
No,
it
it
came
is
back
like-
and said like 1,470 calories. I'm like, there is no way.
yeah.
Lose it isn't right either. I've made 1,000.
I've never used that. Oh my gosh, no, I've never used that app. Emma.
But that's with losing weight.
Well, and I also never.
But it doesn't take into account my muscle.
No, you're right. And I don't know about you guys. When you use those kind of apps, do you add your workout in there? My
Yeah.
friend that had me like
I don't.
counting. Yeah, she's told don't add those
Yeah.
in there because it's going to alter your carbs based on the carbs that alter your calories based on the calories it's calculating from your amount of work. She's like, so don't put your workout in there. Have that just if it's 1,800 calories a day, it's 1,800 calories a day. Your workout will impact that.
Oh,
So-
so you lose it, it gives you your total calories for the day, and then it gives you your net calories. So it
Okay.
takes into your workout and your net calories.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
not in your total calories for the day. So your
Okay.
net is a deficit.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So when you get the scan and it says this is your base calorie, then that is your base calorie when you're trying to lose weight.
That should be your base calorie if you're sitting on the couch all day doing nothing.
Right.
That's like your metabolism burns X amount just for you being alive.
Yeah.
And then,
And
you
what
know,
do you do with that? Like,
yeah.
What does that mean to us?
well, that's like the bare minimum of calories that if you ate, like let's say it was 1,600 calories. 1,600 calories, and calories aren't all the same. So like it can't be just ice cream calories, you know.
Darn it.
Like you want high density nutrition. So we're talking good calories, and a really good format is like 40-30-30. So 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. You can flip the carbs and the protein, so it could be 40% protein, 30% carbs, 30% fat if you want. But in those parameters, that would mean that you eat that every day and you're fueling your body, you're staying the same. But then let's say you add your workout on, but you don't change your calories, now you are in a deficit, right?
Okay.
Because you burnt extra calories.
Mhm.
Or you could be like, oh, I have 500 calories. I don't like I worked out and now I get to go eat, because
Right.
I love to work out. Like I never want my workout to be a punishment for what I ate. Like it's a get to, not a have to.
Mhm.
And like if I ate something that wasn't fabulous, I ate it, moving on, right? Like, so it's kind of mindset, but yeah, I hope that
So
answered
that'll
your
be your
question.
base calorie, and then as long as you're working out, obviously.
Yeah, and you're moving around all day too,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Each person's job is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Like even the littlest things, like taking your dog for a walk, going, using the stairs instead of not using the stairs.
Well, I'm going to go do that this week, so I am going to ask the question because I haven't had it done over here before. Last time I had it done was up in Vancouver.
Mhm.
And so I am going to ask the question of, I burn about 500 calories in here in that hour, and I'm just going to see what their response is because I am curious.
Mhm.
So,
And here's one, I'll just give you guys one last tip. The heavier weight you use, it burns more calories throughout the day. Like, give it your all, obviously, on your cardio, but don't skimp on lifting heavy, because that is where your body burns higher all day long.
true.
So,
True.
what's that? If you guys want, like, information on anything we have, or us to send out like the article that she printed off, or what good fats, good carbs, like the breakdown of what that is, we can email that to you guys too.
Mhm.
And if you have questions about isogenics, we're happy to help.
Yeah, because both
Yeah.
of these articles are.
I have one child who is vegetarian, and I know that soy is not as popular as it used to be because of some of the things with the different plants and whatever. So she doesn't eat beans, and if she can't eat tofu, I mean, you're quinoa, but her taste buds aren't
Yeah.
advanced enough yet to, because quinoa is kind of.
I don't
it's
even
not
like
really
it.
bitter, but it kind of
I
is.
season it well.
It tastes kind of like dirt.
Yeah.
I season it well.
Well, yeah, I know, but still.
I hear ya.
mean, do you guys have a recommendation? I mean.
For my personal
She needs to increase her
40, 30.
protein.
Yeah, personal recommendation, if
Yeah.
you're just asking me, I would give her a plant-based, the Isogenics plant-based shake. That's mine because she's gonna get great nutrition. But some organic tofu, I think the reason that soy is bad is like about 93% of it is GMO, and that's the problem.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you get more of an organic. Okay.
Yeah. But it is hard if you're vegan or vegetarian.
I don't wanna give
It is
her
hard.
tofu every single
Yeah.
night because it sounds like that's not the way to
And she
go.
doesn't like beans at all? Any kind of
Yeah,
beans?
I keep trying, I make a homemade chili that's the bomb, and I take the meat, I mean, I cook her own without
Yeah.
any kind of lean meat, and she just.
Yeah. Dina, what do you
she's
do?
14,
Yeah.
so.
So, I'm on a plant-based diet.
Okay,
I get a lot of my proteins from the shakes.
okay.
The reason I started doing isogenics is because I went on a plant-based diet for an autoimmune disease. And I found that the vegetables that we have today are not the vegetables we had in the 70s, not even the organic ones. I mean, even if you grow them in your backyard, your seeds are not going to be as nutrient dense as what we had in the 70s. So I actually felt good for a while, and then I started to not feel good. I eat beans, everything. So the shakes actually help. You can still get all of your protein in a plant-based diet without eating beans. There's protein in dark vegetables, there's protein in nuts, bananas, which you're also getting your natural oils. Garbanzo beans are really good for a soy replacement, and she won't even know because it's like hummus. And you
Right,
put it
yeah,
in,
know what
yeah,
hummus
do this, so there's a lot of other protein
Spoonful.
sources with a plant-based diet besides beans. Pumpkin seeds are like a huge protein source and stuff.
Just waiting for
Mhm.
college to catch up with her decision to be vegetarian.
Yeah.
We're not there yet, but just, yeah.
Well, have her look at the Happy Burger form.
Oh,
She can say everything, yeah. But she will also say, you're not going to get all eggs or those big meat diets. Sorry, took that over.
No, that was good because I'd forgotten that you had been eating that way for some time.
About 4 years.
Yeah. I'm moving in that direction, but I'm eating seafood. So,
And it's easier on your stomach. I
Yes.
have Crohn's disease, so eating any kind of meat, chicken, people think that chicken is easy to digest, it's better than red meat. No, it's really hard to digest. So, and I did what you did, Lori. I kind of I did fish, even though I don't really care for fish all that much, but I just kind of weaned myself off, so.
my sister was diagnosed with Crohn's last year. It's in my family as well, so when I talk about the things I'm like, I feel like my family's a book for everything not to do. But my sister was just diagnosed with Crohn's about a year ago, and so I'll have to let her know about the chicken thing.
Yeah, and what's great for people with autoimmune disease, and especially when you think of Crohn's, it's not just what's happening in your intestines or your stomach. I have it in my stomach too, which is really fun. But it's all the other autoimmune things. You have no energy for no reason. I mean, you're not exhausted where sleep is going to fix it. It's fatigue. And I'm not here to sell isogenics, but I can tell you, I spent the last 18 months not focused on the weight loss, but focused on getting through my day, and the system gets me through my day. So now this year I'm gonna focus on the weight loss. And I've tried everything. So, I have an autoimmune disease.